Hello, and welcome to New World Comics Podcast, episode 8. Yeah, one of these days we'll forget to count. I am Buck Berlin. I'm owner, operator, head honcho of New World Comics. Joined with me is Stephanie Cerny.
What's up?
And with us we have the voice of God, Brad Reed.
Peace be with you, Buck.
He's from Nerds
Only
to Men.
Buck.
And Stephanie.
Thank you.
And with us is James Cooper.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, man, everyone's so excited you just can't hear them on the other
I know
side.
they're
They're like, whoa.
whoa.
Yeah.
He's got on a dirty polo hat. Yeah.
So, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Each week I have one of my friends from around the store, or someone who helps out,
Or from life.
or from life, come and talk. You are the first one who's just a friend and customer that's done this.
The privilege is tremendous, man. I'm honored.
Well, yeah, thanks for being a part of this.
No problem, man. Me and Buck go back a long ways.
Yeah, you were the second customer to remember my name.
Well, I mean, you were the only 17-year-old I knew that worked in the comic book store, so it was pretty. There was only two people.
Well, I mean, there were a whole bunch of other kids that worked here at the time. Well, I say worked here; they were helping out.
I didn't know those kids.
Yeah, I remember you going over to the people that worked here and the previous owner and did the. Is that kid actually working? I was like, my God, how old is he?
Yeah, I thought it was dope that you were that young and that you were in the comics. Especially,
me too.
What year was that?
That was 2001.
2001.
Yeah. I was getting ready to go into my senior year of high school.
And I thought it was really dope because I didn't see a lot of kids your age at comic book stores.
Oh yeah.
So that was like, it was kind of like a light on you, man.
When I first started here, 98% of the customer base were white males between 35 and 50,000. Yeah. I mean, there were some of our friends like James and Ed that were, younger, but I was definitely the rarity. Like there were 3 or 4 other people in my school that read comics, and even they were just like, "Don't talk about it."
Yeah,
it was. Whereas I've never been ashamed, and I've never, not talked about comics. It's just you need to know how to talk about comics. You can't just.
There are people that really. There's some very intense comic book people that are like, "Oh my God!" I'm like,
well, and that's cool,
10,
but there's a time and place for it.
Just like church is not the time for you to like scream about how fast the Flash is.
Right? Yeah. There's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
But you and I became fast friends just because you were just floored by all the stuff I knew.
He knew a lot of stuff, guys. He absolutely and. When did you start reading comics, though?
The canned answer is when I was 7.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was 5 when I got my first ones, and I loved them, but I didn't really get into comics as a whole. There was a kid on the playground in, like, 2nd grade that gave me a Mr. Fantastic trading card. And he was like, "Hey, we're all going to play Marvel characters."
Oh, wow.
So he was like, "You're Mr. Fantastic." I was like, "I sure am. I am the Mr. Fantastic." What does that mean? Just read the back of the card.
You had no idea.
I had no idea. Well, because, at that time I knew Batman, and I knew Ninja Turtles, and I knew Ghostbusters.
Wow.
And that's, some Captain Planet peppered in. But
You could have tucked the planet, man. You could have.
I'm just saying.
You
Listen,
could have tucked it.
cards on the table.
Oh, God. All the cards. Captain Planet.
The power is yours. Anyway, so I read the card and I was like, so he's the smartest guy around, and he can stretch like that. One of those is cool. One of those sounds less cool.
Well,
then the kid was like, it's more important that you're smart. The stretching thing is just kind of a secondary thing. So after school, my mom took me to Britton Drug, and there was a bottom shelf that had some comic books on there, and there was a Fantastic Four Christmas issue that had just come out. and I read it and I loved it. And ever since I've loved the Fantastic Four.
So that's your favorite Fantastic Four?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What about you? What's your favorite?
Oh, I don't know. Like all time favorite.
All time, just grab one. If you got 5 of them, just grab one of them.
Oh, I don't know.
Come on.
What is your all time favorite other than? Are you going to say Black Panther?
Black Panther is.
Man, way to jump on that bandwagon. No. I'm joking. We'll get back to Stephanie real quick, but just to take the bite out of that one. James is the one who actually turned me on to Black Panther way back when with Chris Priest writing it, which we're about to do a deep dive into next. But
Yes.
that hopefully bought Stephanie enough time. All right, so favorite character.
I mean, I'd say Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, I really like Spider-Gwen.
Tell me why.
You know, we've talked before, I'm really into the What If comics,
me
and
too.
Spider-Gwen is really just a longer What If
That's
comic.
exactly what she is.
You know, like what if Gwen Stacy got bit by the radioactive spider instead of Peter Parker?
You're right. That's dope. That's
You
dope.
know, and
Yeah.
it's just like, it's such a cool story. And there's so many other what ifs that just, they end up turning it into like an awesome comic.
I think I bought every what if there was from the time that they started doing. I love what ifs.
Oh yeah.
And Elseworlds, love the Elseworlds. Too.
Well, and that's really kind of where you and I bonded, was talking about the what if. Because imagination is really what drives so much of all the
Absolutely.
comic stuff. So a lot of the writers tend to limit themselves, really.
They do.
So you would come in and do all right, Buck, who's the strongest?
I would.
Who's the, what do you think Captain America can do? I was like, well, depending on who's writing, he should be able to spin a tank around, but not necessarily lift it and throw it.
Yeah, I'm to this day, I'm still really big on power levels.
Oh, yeah.
Speeds,
Well, and probably the most fun I had early on with you was when we realized, realistically, Captain America killed people. Because his shield, according to one of the bios, is a 40-pound hunk of metal that he just throws as hard as he...
That's unbreakable.
Throws it as hard as he could into a whole bunch of people.
Into a guy's head across the room.
Right, yeah. You throw an 8-ounce can of Coke at someone, he's not going to be good for the rest of his life. Yeah.
This guy got hit with a shield.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to just think of it as like the G.I. Joe, scenario where it might just like bounce off people.
Yeah, well,
and it's really okay.
Well, they shoot down the
lasers
plane.
Don't really hurt people.
They shoot down a plane, and somebody parachutes out at the last time.
Yeah.
right, but
every time.
if a hunk of metal is bouncing off of you, you are, yeah.
They're okay.
Off a headshot, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you have lost arithmetic. Like that.
There's no more counting by
Yeah,
fours. Huh?
yeah. Your days of numbers are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can no longer say the letter P. So, but yeah, and it was stuff like that around that time, you were like, so who would win in a fight? And to this day, that is my least favorite question when I'm asked.
My favorite question.
Well, here's the thing. Most people don't have the knowledge to back it up.
True.
Because usually everyone says, hey, who would win in a fight? Because they're waiting for you to say their favorite character. And if you don't, then they're going to argue.
Yeah.
Right?
This is true.
But you, and I have the history knowing the limits, the pros, the cons, the ins and outs of the characters. And, I mean, a lot of the times it, just like in, real sports, boxing, MMA, if they're having a good day and the other person having a bad day, like a Batman Captain America fight, it depends on who ate their Wheaties.
Or how much time you gave Batman.
Yeah, there's
Right.
so many variables.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like a Batman Flash fight, Batman all day,
I yeah, absolutely.
But or I don't know, Beast versus Etrigan. Like there's
Who would you go with?
Beast.
Would you really?
Oh, totally.
Oh Oh my God.
Yeah,
Folks.
I'm just saying.
I need some feedback from you guys when this video
Here's
comes
the thing:
out.
Beast has gone toe to toe with the Hulk, and he's got science on his side.
Etrigan has rhymes.
Yeah, he's got fat beats, and that's about it, man.
He's got some power, though, man. Come on.
He's got some power to him, but I'm just saying, Beast takes Etrigan.
What is Beef? 10 tons? What is he? 10 tons, man?
Yeah.
In Marvel,
I'm just saying.
this guy's a demon.
Yeah, in a bottle. Roughing the right way. Anyway,
And on this episode of Etrigan is Dead.
so that got dumb.
We would really do that. Though. My apologies to everyone. James and I like to just go nerd.
They like to go dumb.
Just go nerd out.
But you were telling me about Chris Priest's Black Panther, and the thing that sold me on his Black Panther, like you didn't have to sell me on him as a writer, because I had read Quantum and Woody and loved it. Which, by the way, we have Quantum and Woody right here.
Excellent.
Yeah, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But you were telling me about the issues where Black Panther was fighting with Iron Man, and was dogging the suit.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, basically, he to just really brief it on out. He said, "I made your suit when I was 12." He's like, "Do you not think that I made and do you not think that I built an Iron Man suit?" He's like, "It's clunky. That's why I don't wear the suit." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even think. I mean,
right." And then the next issue they fought.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, why would Tony trust him? For the thing. He was like, no, it was like an agreed upon battle. Mm-hmm. He said, put on the suit, test it out for a day, see how you like it. And the page where he puts it on was like, oh my God, I've never thought about half of this stuff. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Yeah.
And then, it's just so good. I mean, it's most people don't realize that his run
is what you're seeing in the comics.
We have right here.
I mean, what you're seeing in the movie.
Right. Yeah. Like this is where they introduced the Dora Milaje and a lot of the Wakandan lore that they took from the movies, because before then, everyone Wakanda was a whole bunch of really high tech huts,
which is weird,
and everyone had high tech spears. But they still just looked like spears. Like they didn't look like, there's something to that. It just looked like, here's some spears and grass and feathers on them.
Christopher Priest really future teched everything. And I mean, to be honest, when you see a Black Panther movie, you're basically seeing a Christopher Priest vision of what Wakanda is, what Black Panther is, the history, everything.
Right. Which I want to touch upon real quick. Your thoughts on the movie?
I'm back and forth between it being the best Marvel movie and it being the second best. The first being, for me, Winter Soldier.
Right.
I just love Winter Soldier.
It's a very well put together movie.
It is. It's really excellent. It's really excellent. I mean, to me, it's the fullest story that Marvel has given us, as far as the villain having a sincere reason to be a villain, the villain having texture, and you can actually see the ascension of Black Panther. And I mean, it's just it was a really rich story. Like it was well thought out. It wasn't just bam 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 with the
it has like this whole body to it.
It does.
It does. And where just Black Panther standing up with the bullets hitting him and having no effect, that just seeing that, and it speaking volumes just of, here's his character, this is what he does, this it just said so much, and it everyone's actions really spoke louder than any of their words would. And that just ran throughout the whole movie. So
absolutely,
I'm on board with you there. You and I have the same feelings towards Killmonger in Black Panther.
I've always felt like he was a villain.
Right.
A lot of people, a lot of people want to put him in a Frank Castle kind of form, where he's the anti-villain.
Which it's easy to see that right off the bat, but when you dive deeper,
And you look at what he did. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, to look at the overall picture, it's easy to think, oh, he's just a vigilante out there, doing what he thinks is right and, righting wrongs, giving it his brand of justice. But
he's a CIA spook, for one. He's got dots on his body from all of his kills. He shot his girlfriend in the face like 20 minutes into the movie after he kissed her 4 minutes earlier, held up one of the elders and slammed her to the ground and made her destroy all of the sacred herbs. There's nothing that says hero about this dude.
He's out to get what benefits him and what's going to move him forward.
True.
right, and he wasn't about empowering everyone. He was
About empowering himself.
Yeah, he's all about himself.
well, and it wasn't even necessarily empowering himself. It was empowering himself so he could take everyone else down with him.
And then for him
About
to be that
vengeance.
smart and him not to literally think it out. Okay, so I send all of my troops out with all this super weaponry. What happens when they send the Avengers here?
Yeah. Or when someone fails and they take that tech back, against them,
then work it, reverse engineer it.
And I had one little qualm with how T'Challa acted in the situation, but you could argue that he's still early in his Black Panther career. I feel that he would have been a little bit more diplomatic.
Wiser. He literally could have. Well, no, there was no. If he would have been nice to the guy, or if he would have said, "Let's give him a chance."
Towards the end, when they're in the mine and everything's going back and forth, he still he could have done that. No, there's a better way. There's definitely a better way. We don't have to fight like this. Lay down your arms. Lay down your arms. Lay down your arms.
I think maybe he knew there was no reasoning with him.
Well, but I mean, his way is still the. I know. I'm up
Yeah,
against a
he
brick wall.
would make the effort to do it.
He would have at least made the effort to do it.
I think wisdom dictates that would have been a waste of time, though, to know that this guy is once again a CIA, with a CIA
right.
op,
Well, but I mean, like in here, in the books, he's so much more diplomatic. Like even when he knows he's up against someone who won't listen, it's the, hey guys, we can talk this out. There's other ways.
There's other options.
And that's what I love about his character is that he's not just the yes he's one of the smartest guys ever. Yes, he's one of the best fighters ever. Yet he has the greatest resources. He has so much, but he's not out there proving it. He's out there trying to downplay that and say, hey, there are better ways. Let's talk this out.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Yeah, which back to Quantum and Woody, it's the exact opposite.
It really was.
Yeah, which if anyone has ever watched Psych, that's probably the best.
Oh my God, that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice
You guys-
way.
you guys
That's
like-
a nice way to
that
put
is
it.
a
I've
ni-
never thought of that like
Yeah,
that before.
Psych is Quantum and Woody with no powers.
Yeah, because Gus is Quantum,
Yeah.
definitely, and Woody is,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
essentially Quantum's dad runs this super high-tech lab and makes, like super-powered, wrist gauntlet things that, can make people fly, shoot, and have superpowers. But they have to be slammed together once every 24 hours to recharge or to, offset a charge. Otherwise, you die. And if I remember correctly, Woody
forgot
puts one on
Yeah.
first, and then Quantum is sitting there like, dude, stop messing around, and then he puts the other on him. They're like, oh no. You
That
doomed
was-
us. Yeah, and once they're on, they're on. Like that's your
remember-
life.
And this weird. I can't remember how it ended though. Do you?
Well, yeah, but I don't want to give it away for those that are.
That are gonna come to the New World,
Yeah.
and purchase
up,
the comic
yeah.
book.
Yeah, I don't want to
The
give away the
sales.
end. Like I don't want to ruin how Black Panther or how Planetary ends or any of that other stuff.
I see, Buck Berlin.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but speaking of Planetary,
Okay,
that is absolutely one of our favorite books.
absolutely.
And for those who've listened for 8 episodes, I've talked about it for probably 8 of them.
Have you really?
Every episode he talks about planetary.
Maybe not every episode. I may have missed one.
Yeah, I wasn't here for one episode, so I don't know if they talked about it.
Would you take a guess? What do you think?
I think they might have talked about it. That one episode I was in
I'm just
here.
saying, if you haven't read Planetary and you like reading comics, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
It's blasphemy.
Yeah. Well, because if you like anything about comics that happened in the 20th century, then there is a representation of it somewhere in there.
Absolutely.
Typically. I mean, there are a few things, like there's not a Black Panther reference, or, you know.
He's like,
But-
I don't know about this
We
thing.
can't be perfect, you know. Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely several representations of the Justice League. The bad guys you come to find out are the Fantastic Four.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah. There's a little preview that came out where they're researching what happened to the Hulk.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds like, oh, they fight the Hulk and they fight the Justice League and they fight but they're investigating
Everything is in
everything.
Everything is in the book, though. That's what I love. That
Well, and
everything
there's
is in that
just
book.
reference upon reference upon reference, and the way that they tied everything in, like the old pulp heroes like Doc Savage and
Axel
Lone
Brass,
Ranger, and it has one of the best comic book moments of all time is when they realize what their universe is.
Oh, that
They
was
said, it's something like their creator is ever changing, and that they are just information stored on parallel planes
that was
among other parallel planes, and it's they found out that they are in a comic book,
That's
and
wonderful.
and that they only exist when observed.
That's wonderful.
Like, that's some Deadpool stuff right there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like it's doing it in complete seriousness. Like
Yeah.
some scientist is like, well, we've found out that we exist only in when observed, and every moment,
2-dimensional. Or,
Yeah.
Or,
yeah, it's a 3-dimensional world on a 2-dimensional plane,
Yes.
and every moment happens at the exact same moment, but each moment only happens when observed.
wow.
And it was just, oh my God. Like, I had to just put the book down, sit, and like, just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I came in the next day and I was like, oh my, did you read this?
yeah. It was just, oh my God. Yeah,
good.
Planetary 19. That's honestly one of the best comics of all time. It's just flooring.
One of my favorite moments in comics also is that remember when Batman they were in the Arctic, Super Friends, I'm not the Super Friends, but the Justice League were all in the Arctic, and they didn't listen to Batman's plan, and Batman basically steps off like 20 feet, does his foot like this, kicks some snow off on a teleporter, like he knew they were going to be.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. It's one of my favorite. That's my favorite Batman moment.
Yeah. Your Batman and my Batman kind of line up. And it's hard to say my favorite character is Batman because when we sit down and really dissect that, your Batman versus my Batman versus your Batman versus Brad's Batman could be all different Batman. Because if you're a fan of 70s Batman, then you more than likely have a Robin and a Batgirl, and he's a big part of the Justice League and all this other stuff. My Batman, I affectionately refer to as Asshat Batman, just because he's just so mean to everyone.
So mean.
But
we find out why.
Yeah.
We find out why.
Yeah. If you read the Grant Morrison run of Justice League, you definitely find out why. And it's awesome to see it all blow up in his face.
Awesome.
Yeah. But why don't we hear a little bit more about some of your other favorite books and some of your other favorite characters?
Everybody Black. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm a big Luke Cage guy. That was my first comic book that I ever got. My buddy of mine, his name was Chris Carr. He decided he was done with comics, and it was like 1979, and he just gave me all of his comics. Just here,
Wow.
and probably like a U-Haul size box this high, and just gave me all of them. And I spent the summer just really reading them, and I wanted, he didn't have complete sets.
You're right.
So I was like, what happened?
Yeah, you gotta fill it in.
What happened to Spider-Man when he fought Green Goblin, man? I wanted to know. I really wanted to know. And that really sent me on this journey of trying to figure out what happened in all of these books. I mean, he probably gave me like 250, 300 books. And I had to try to figure out what happened in all these books, man. And he literally, like, maybe he had like 3 comics that connected.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's not even a, that you're
like, that's not even an arc.
in the
like,
70s,
give me a story.
in the late 70s. Oh my God.
Well, for me, like half of that was half the fun was when you did find those points and connections.
Yes.
Like continuity was just such a big deal to me.
Yes.
The fact that, like, man, these, this story has been being, it has been in the process of being told, at the time when I got it, for 30 years.
Jesus.
Well,
How long did it take you to catch up, man? Jeez.
So, yeah, you know this, but a lot of people really don't. I grew up in a really rough part of town. Right next door there was a meth house, and across the street was a gang house, and then next to that was a house of ill repute.
Ah.
Where the gang house would go and
Or they would show Muppet
have
movies.
fun. Yeah, Muppet movies. That's what they did.
Okay.
So I didn't really get to play outside too much, so I kind of sat and read a lot.
A lot.
So I read, the same comics over and over and over, and I was just a sponge for any of this.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I got most of.
What about you? What got you in the comics?
I don't really know exactly.
Really?
Because I was into them before I met other people who were into them, which was really cool when I met other people who were interested in comics.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if I found it might have been like my older brother, because I remember we would watch like Batman the Animated Series together.
Great series.
Which was a really cool thing of having an older brother. Got me into cool stuff. Like I wasn't, like we would, watch G.I. Joe and would play G.I. Joe, and do all of this stuff. So I wonder if maybe that's what got me into reading comics.
It's a great moment when you can kind of find your nerd tribe,
Yeah, that's what happened when I found here. Because at the time, I was the only person I knew that was really into it as much as I was. Mm-hmm. Like everyone else just kind of dabbled. Like it's like if you're a big sports fan and someone's like, "Yeah, I think I caught that game." Yeah, there was who won, and you're like, "No, what about that play where and they just don't get it. Mm-hmm. But you realize that you can't really connect with them on that level. You need to kind of.
And if this is your thing, you can't connect with them.
Yeah, it's amazing to find other people. Like I remember my brother and I, we used to make like games, kind of like turn-based games on graph paper.
Oh, wow.
And then to like learn later in life, that's an actual thing people do. Like we just did it because we were bored.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We had each other to spend time with, to play. And my mom's like, all right, be quiet.
Like one of the things I was really drawn to Spider-Man early on because he didn't have any brothers and sisters.
Really?
And Batman too.
Huh.
I thought that was because I didn't have any brothers and sisters. So I saw something in them. Of course, me being a genius, no, but I saw something.
Much like Peter Parker.
Much like Peter Parker.
Except you're smarter than he is.
And she gets a free sandwich from Subway for me. But no, I really did. I really saw a kinship, me being an only child and me being young and them not having any brothers or sisters. I really thought that was like, oh, man,
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you'd say that like your top characters, Black Panther, Luke Cage, Spider-Man.
I'm a Batman guy.
Yeah.
I'm a really big Batman.
Which your Batman is like 90s and 2000s.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. The Chuck Dixon through Grant Morrison so.
That's my guy. He's brooding and
yeah, like he needs all the help he can get, but won't ask for it.
Ask for it for nothing.
He's so mad when he gets the help, but
I love that about Batman,
he's
though.
so mad. He's like
I love that about him.
super ultra alpha
Yes.
mega man.
Yeah,
Like no one can ever tell him how to do something, and why would he dare ask someone for help?
well, because he, and he's not the first to tell you that he's the best, but he's going to show you, yeah, look how great I am.
I mean,
look at me.
He's Batman.
Yeah.
I mean,
The smartest guy, the most athletic guy,
Right.
I mean, just all of that.
Yeah, like you look back to 70s, Batman and Superman. Superman definitely wins that fight. You go back to 60s, Superman and Batman. Superman wins that fight.
Yes.
You go back to 50s, Batman and Superman. Depending on the words chosen, Superman wins that fight because they would talk each other to death.
But you step into that 80s, and
But starting in the 80s, that's when Batman started getting rougher.
and who made what's his name? Help me out.
Frank Miller?
Frank Miller.
Yeah.
Of course, because Frank Miller makes everybody rougher.
Yeah.
Makes everybody like a little bit crazy. Daredevil was literally
He had
suffering.
such a good
he's
life,
suffering
and
from
then-
trauma from Frank Miller.
God.
You know what I'm saying? Like right now,
He just needs a good day.
he just needs a hug, a girlfriend, and some Theraflu.
and a sandwich.
And a sandwich.
Get that man a sandwich. That's dumb.
Yeah, I like that though. I like
Yeah.
that though.
We've lost all of the listeners. Like, really, a sandwich? Shut up, Buck.
Yeah, you gotta put a picture of, like Daredevil hold the sandwich.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So, God. One thing that you'd asked to talk about before was when in other mediums or just along the way, creators, companies, powers that be will arbitrarily change a character's race.
I hate that.
Yeah, well, and honestly, if it serves the story, I don't mind it terribly. But I mean,
There's certain instances where it can be okay, but like Johnny Storm is the perfect. All right, you have Michael B. Jordan, who is an excellent actor. He's excellent.
right.
I've never seen him bad. He was even good in Fantastic Four. I've never seen him bad in anything.
I still haven't seen the movie.
You're not missing out on it.
on principle.
Yeah.
You know what? I give it to you because I caved. I went and saw it at the theaters and then promptly scraped my eyes.
So you were one of the
Yeah,
five.
it was me and 10 guys. And they were okay. So anyway, but no, there was no need. There's just no need. There are plenty of wonderful Black and Latino and Asian characters.
I would argue that there aren't necessarily plenty of. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you remember when we played the game of name 10 Black characters that don't have Black in their name?
Woo.
That was a tough day. I mean, it's way easier now.
That was a long 72 hours.
Oh
wasn't
my
it?
God! Yeah, I mean, this was 2001, 2002 that we were playing that game. But it was the Bishop, Storm,
Okay.
Goliath. If you don't count the time he was Black Goliath, yeah. But yeah, it's huge strides now.
There's no need to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I knew Michael B. Jordan was he was a rising actor at that time.
Yeah.
He had just what he had did. What's the movie with the guys who were telekinetic?
Oh,
Starts with a C.
Chronicle. Yeah.
He had just did Chronicle, so he was coming off Chronicle. He was a hot commodity,
And superhero movies were big at the time.
and I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Hey, let's make him. He's a great actor. He's coming off a good movie. A good what was it, like a B movie kind of.
Yeah.
Let's put him in Fantastic Four. I get it, but there's just when I say there's plenty of characters. Right, like I'm watching Luke Cage right now. I'm watching season 1 over it. there are characters you don't have to unhomogenize the milk and put somebody black in the and just make this guy black. You don't have to do that. I mean, it always irks me. I needed Johnny Storm. I need Johnny Storm to be blonde hair, blue eyes. I need him to do that.
And see, I find that just fascinating because, like in Spider-Man: Homecoming, when they put is it Zendaya?
Yeah.
When they put her in the role for MJ, which her name I think is like Marie something. It's not Mary Jane, but it's something.
Yeah.
You look at the makeup of the population in your typical school back when it was created, almost everyone was white.
In a typical, in that maybe in that neighborhood, I get it. Yeah.
Right. But you go to a school now, and it's
it looks like a Benetton ad.
It's
Benetton was
no. Go on.
Benetton was an 80s, it's like the 80s Gap, but it was far more expensive. And they had these really creative ads. And it would be like me, Buck, an Asian girl, a really tall white girl, a girl that was orange or whatever. And they would have on the Benetton clothes. So, okay.
Clarification is key just for those that don't want to stop and Google and,
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
But yeah, like, you go to school now and diversity is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not just,
My school, Westmore. When I went to Westmore, there were like 10 of us.
Well,
and now it's predominantly black.
When I went to Hoover for middle school, like it was me and like.
Say that again, sir.
Yeah, I went to Hoover Middle School.
So I went to Brink Middle School, and he went to Hoover.
It was rough.
You dang right it was.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, this is one of those things that we bonded over, and I probably shouldn't get into too far here and now, but like I grew up pretty racist, and then I moved over here and I realized, oh my God, black people and white people get along, and then I some of my deepest friendships were just people of different backgrounds, different ethnicities, and I found out that like gay people weren't out to get me. I found out that black people weren't out to get.
You couldn't actually acquire the gay.
Well, yeah, and I became such great friends with everyone. It was that, what the hell am I doing with I just had so much hate and fear
Epiphany.
that when I met everyone, it was just, oh my God,
they're people.
How wrong have I been? Like it was just flooring, and it was just it shaking.
Mm-hmm. I actually remember that's
but yeah. So and you were like, well, that's very deep of you, young Berlin.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So yeah, I went to Hoover. Where I was the minority, and I got treated as such. I got threatened every day. Bad things were thrust upon me, and then I moved over to the Putnam City School District and noticed that, like, oh man, look at all the black guys and white guys getting along just fine. Like, there's not about to be a fight. And like my first day, I made a black friend. I was like, oh my God.
You made a black friend,
and I
love it.
No,
but it's good.
It was for me
for
at the
a
time,
young kid
at the time, it was just such a foreign thing. Whereas now, I make friends with everyone of every background. Even if I don't agree with their
politics
or lifestyle or religion or what, we
lack thereof.
Yeah, well, because there's always common ground to be found, and
especially.
Well, especially in comics. Yeah, but just in life in general, we're getting a little soapboxy.
Yeah.
But
I had a question. I feel man, this is a little too.
Yeah, we're getting a little deep and a little weird. But yeah, so younger me, I'm not too proud of. But I've definitely seen
we see the growth, young Berlin. We definitely see the growth.
Are you calling me fat?
Yes. No.
Yeah. We had something beautiful, and I made it dumb.
And yeah, it's okay.
I think you're up to 3 dumbs now.
3.
For anybody who's counting out there.
Just wait till we're not on camera. James and I have way dumber things to say.
It
gets yeah. But yeah. So where were the diversity and
I was going to ask what you thought about Kingpin.
I love Michael. Was it Michael Clark Duncan?
Michael Clark Duncan, yeah.
God rest him. But the Kingpin is a very large, bald white man.
And it's still so funny because I'm like,
my life, I'm reading Daredevil and Spider-Man, and they're fighting against this big, humongous white guy.
well, and for me, when I think of Kingpin, what's more important to me is that he's an overbearing, super strong, imposing dude.
Look, he was great in the movie. He played the part. It's just, and I'm not denying that. Okay, maybe just for the, just the aesthetic. I mean, the nerd in me wants everything to be just like the book. The nerd in me wants my nerd in me wants all of the movies, all of these wonderful superhero movies that they're making. I'm just like, what do I always say? Just stick to the book. That's the nerd.
Right.
No, that's why we're never going to get a Planetary anything adaptation.
Can you imagine what they would do to Planetary?
Oh my God.
Oh my! Well, they couldn't. For one, it's too many. There's too many genres.
Yeah,
and
for those that haven't done the dive into Planetary after all of our
you've
talking,
got to read Planetary.
Yeah, just every issue is them going into a different genre.
Tarzan.
Tarzan. The 1950s movies, like there's the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman and the Giant Ants and things like that. Then the next issue, they're going to Monster Island. Then they're
Godzilla's.
Yeah.
And, just everything.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's and
he meets up with Dracula.
Yeah. And he kicks Dracula's.
Yeah, we won't get into what he kicks. It's what Wolfman has.
That's what Wolfman has.
Oh, I'm knocking everything over.
Way to go.
Bobblehead Bane is pissed.
Yeah. Yes.
That pleases
Um,
How'd you
me.
feel about that? How did you guys feel about his voice?
I thought it was weird, but kind of fun. See, I made sure that I didn't know anything about the movie going into it. So
how do you all do that?
It's a skill.
It is. You have to get really skilled
And
at
especially
avoiding spoilers
I
and kind
wanna
of going
see
silent.
everything. I know the movie. Like, okay, I'm on my way to go see the last Avengers movie, right? And I pull it up on Wikipedia, the plot, and read it.
Oh my gosh.
And read it like 3 times before I'm going in the
Oh
movie.
no!
And then look, and then sit in the movie and enjoy. But how? Okay, let me ask you a question, guys. We've probably read most of the stuff in this room.
Well, and see, it's because
so there are no surprises.
There
but
are
are.
surprises.
There are
though.
no
Yeah,
surprises.
there are.
There's no crying in baseball. Come on, guys. There's no surprises.
Trust me, there's tons of crying in baseball. Go talk to A-Rod.
And we'll be back in 2 and 2. Jesus. A-Rod's going to be watching this podcast. He's going like, what the hell?
You ex-racist jerk. Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh, you guys.
Well, it's been fun having a New World Comics podcast. Well, I've been Buck.
And I've been Jane.
Voice of God, how are we doing on time?
We are about 46 minutes. So
We got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll move on because
Because you guys are getting weird.
we're getting weird, soapboxy, and dumb.
It's great.
Yeah, we're having a great time.
It is
great.
great.
Yeah.
It's great.
But it's weird.
It is very weird.
Yeah, we've either gained or lost so many.
Justice League.
So yeah, let's go back to characters. And this one, Chris Priest written.
Wow.
One of the worst comics ever, but such a great concept.
Yeah.
Triumph.
Triumph.
Do you remember the deal to Triumph?
You know,
I-
it's a cool name.
Yeah,
It's a
and
great name.
if you're an insult comic dog.
I can't remember the deal.
That was before the dog.
I know.
Give me the cliff notes on Triumph.
All right, so Triumph is from a parallel universe where he helped found the Justice League.
Hold on. Oh, God.
All right, this is already sounding like parallel universe.
Oh, my God. So,
All right.
Sounding cool.
So
Okay, go
he
on.
starts off essentially having It's a Wonderful Life play out, right? Mm-hmm. But it turns out that the world is better off without him.
Aww.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Wow, man. That sucks.
Right.
What were his
So,
powers?
be lame and have flashy, glowy, whatever hands.
Oh man,
Neat.
They need to bring him back like yesterday.
I want to say that he was super strong and could like energy blast.
Other people do that.
All right, but I mean, that much stuck with me. Like
he was Starfire.
Yeah, she's way cooler.
Well, I don't think that he could fly. I don't remember him flying. I need to go back and reread it. But
he has to be able to fly.
But since we were talking Chris Priest, like I remember being so excited from Quantum and Woody and Black Panther and everything else he wrote to doing the deep dive on his other stuff. Even when he was James Owsley, before he got divorced. Which we'll get back to that, but he did Justice League of America for a little while, and it's terrible.
It's terrible.
So
I mean, even the art looks terrible too.
well, that's just kind of
Who's the artist? Do you know?
Good question.
So, speaking of something good,
Okay.
want to talk about how awesome Black Panther is. Isn't he coming to Tulsa?
Oh yeah, Chris Priest is coming to a Tulsa
He
Con.
is coming to Tulsa.
Yeah,
and I think I might go. I think I might go. I mean,
Luke Ross did the art. Yeah,
is Luke working right now?
Probably not.
probably not because
Luke's probably like,
this was
welcome to Jack in the Box. Would you like to try a new
No.
fajita pitas?
Dang, yo! Come on.
Sorry, Luke. Can
wow.
I tell you this is okay. I'm kind of a
Big
bad
deal.
I'm a bad guy. Okay, so I'll let you know how much of a bad guy I am. I'm walking in Chicago down the street, and I'm gonna catch the L. And walking towards me is Lou Gossett Jr. and the guy next to him was probably like his manager. They're walking towards me. I'm walking towards them. There's this nice distance. Me and Lou Gossett Jr. are kind of making eye contact as he's talking to his guy. And when we get next to each other, he stops. And I stick out my hand. And I go, and we're kind of still moving. And I go, Mr. Gossett, I love your work. And he's like, thank you so much. And we're both smiling. We're still kind of pivoting. And I say to him, Mr. Gossett, my favorite movie by you is Iron Eagle 2. He's shaking my hand, and he literally like stops everything.
then he's like,
and he goes, thanks. He's walking, I'm walking. I look back, and him and the guy like are stopped, and they're like looking at me. I get around the corner and cry laughing because I gave Lou Gossett Jr. the business.
Man.
Iron Eagle 2, you could tell he was like trying to pay for his boat or something, I mean, it's Iron Eagle 2, man, Actually, I messed up. I think I said Iron Eagle 3. But anyway, Chappie Sinclair, if you're out there, I apologize, Mr. Gossett. I think you're a great actor, but I just had to slide.
I'm sure that Lou Gossett Jr. is like, let's listen to a podcast from a comic shop in Oklahoma.
You would be surprised.
He's like, I wonder if they've seen The Punisher.
That was the peak of comic book movies for a minute.
Yeah, for a minute, yeah.
Dolph, baby.
No, wait, no, it wasn't. For a minute, we still had Superman 1.
Okay, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, for Marvel movies.
Yeah.
That was the peak.
It was. I mean, that's like saying that your first steps are your peak in life. Like,
Jesus.
I'm just saying.
Wow. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I saw Superman in movie theater, so it was pretty great.
So what you're saying is you're old?
I was born in 1972, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, yeah, I was born in 83, so.
In 83, I was, we won't talk about what I was doing in 83. Anyway.
Reading comics.
Probably for the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Comics. All right. What are we going to talk about?
We should probably wrap this thing up.
There's some super interesting stuff that has happened in the past week in comics.
Yeah. So
I'm listening.
Super interesting.
In the Hunt for Wolverine, the Adamantium agenda, it's essentially the New Avengers kind of going back and retracing some steps and finding out that Mr. Sinister has a database of every human's DNA.
Sounds very sinister-like.
Yeah,
Right?
something he would definitely do.
Which it's really cool because like Peter Parker and Tony Stark are like nerding out over the like organizational skills of Mr. Sinister. They're like, oh my god, look at his spreadsheets. Which is something that
Nerds would do.
But Tony Stark, before everything blows up or goes away, something happens. Tony Stark does that. I caught a glimpse of someone's DNA that's on the X-Men. They're not an actual mutant. So you have like an infiltrator.
So they're a plant.
Yeah. So someone is planted in the X-Men.
So just a guess, is it a long-term plant?
I'm guessing that it's going to be like a moderately.
So it's slipstream.
So basically, they were genetically modified to be a mutant, is what this is.
I'm going to say it's Gambit. It's Gambit.
It is not.
It has to be Gambit because he's the worst.
Hold on. No, think about it.
Show over.
Yeah.
Gambit's no parents. He was adopted.
Did you say no? Oh, no parents. I heard no parents. I was like, yeah, of course he's got no parents.
We don't know who his parents are, right?
To be fair, I don't know who your parents are.
Lynn and James. I'm James Henry Cooper III.
Oh. And his social security number is
777-9311. That's the name of a song by The Time. Listen,
I was very concerned for a minute.
So Gambit, no, we don't know who his parents are.
right.
He was adopted by the Thieves Guild.
Uh-oh.
So he would be the perfect person to throw you off the track.
He had a power problem early on.
Well, listen, man, there's comics. Everyone had a power problem.
No, but
I had a power problem early on.
He had a power problem, and he was brought back to Sinister.
Oh, well, see,
You just nailed it, man.
Oh, yeah, but I was doing that out of
Gambit.
my hatred of Gambit.
It's Gambit. You love Gambit, don't you?
Yeah, and I'm pulling the plug right now. No blessings for Buck this week.
I had a good run.
I think you nailed it, man.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. Then yeah, I nailed it.
So you've heard it here first from the mighty mind of Buck Berlin.
It's Gambit.
That Gambit is a Trojan horse, and I don't mean anyway. But that Gambit is probably the iffy X-Man.
We'll go with it.
Buck.
Yeah.
I'm staggered, man.
You should be.
I'm
pretty great.
You just did a leap in logic there, Cypher.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm the best worst X-Man then.
Buck's
Everyone loves Cypher.
Professor X is like, you're going to have to leave.
Yeah.
Why? You don't have a real power. Okay.
One more thing, and then I want to leave everyone with the probably the best thing James Cooper's ever said to me. I want to let everyone know that Fantastic Four #1 came out this last week. It's amazing.
Yes, I posted it on Instagram. You guys should totally come get it.
For lack of a better adjective, it's fantastic.
Robin.
Yeah.
Robin is turning over in his grave from that pun. Go
He
ahead.
already did. Put on a red mask and everything. Anyway. Oh, that's dumb.
Yes.
What? I forgot what number. Or is that dumb 5?
That's dumb 5.
Sure.
It's right below Vin Diesel. We're never going to get this. It's never going to go wide.
Yeah. Well, there goes your fame.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, the new Fantastic Four book is great, and I think everyone needs to partake. But I will end the podcast on this. The greatest thing that James Cooper ever told to me, ever said to me, was something that just, man, it got me thinking, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. He says, Buck, look around. Look at everything written in this store. You, as a young lad, read most of this. And you retained all the knowledge, and you have the imagination to move it around and know it inside and out. Imagine if this was medical knowledge.
Oh, my God. I did say that, didn't I?
And I was like, oh, I ruined my life.
Oh, God. I Lou Gossett you.
And with that, thank you all for listening. Apologize for any weirdness, whatever. Soapboxing, beatboxing.
All the dumb.
I had a great time.
Good. Yeah, James, thanks for joining us. I love you, man. You're amazing.
That
You're
was super fun.
absolutely one of my favorite people on this planet.
Thank you. You too, Buck Berlin, man. Very proud of you, man.
Oh, thanks. And thank you to Stephanie Cerny for
Putting
being
up
along,
with you.
yeah, putting up with us, and Brad Reed for being the voice of God, and
Buck, tell everybody where your store is.
oh, for those interested, I'm New World Comics in Oklahoma City, 6219 North Meridian.
Okay, guys.
63rd and Meridian.
It's on Meridian, right next to the subway. All right, you have to in the 7-Eleven is right. You have to do,
Visuals.
Yeah, because we're in Oklahoma. We're like, where are you at? He's like, I'm right next to Grinders.
I'm saying you can type in the Google address.
Yeah, you're asking for a level.
We're
of
also a
sophistication.
Pokestop, I
Yeah.
think. Still, we used to be.
Yeah, we're still a
Or
Pokestop.
for the people
yeah.
who still do that.
People still poke.
Yeah, you can trade your Pokemon now.
Oh wow.
I know, right?
I bet you in 3 years you're going to fight.
We should probably stop this thing then.
Okay, yeah. All right. And with that, thank you all for listening. Love
See you
you all.
guys.
See you all next week.
Green Acres.